Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back. And by popular request, we are doing the range tier list. Obviously, we've done the melee, the infantry, and then we'll probably, after this one, if people want it, we can do the cav one. But yeah, we're just going to go through, see who's on top, see who's S tier, see who's not. This list won't take as long as the other one. The other one was 30-something minutes. There's a lot more infantry than there is range. I am missing one range that is just the grey one. It's just the grey. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, we're going to start from grey to green to blue to purple to gold. And yeah, so we're just going to go through. We're going to start with the Archer Militia, grey Archer. That's going straight in D. When it comes to grey archers, literally the best thing you can use them for is a tread bait. When I say tread bait, if you can get two people to try and tread these, and because you've dressed them up like a more in sort of a unit attire and made them look a lot better than they are, and then you just have them on a wall or something, and you just basically gets people to use their trebs, then you would get value out of these. Apart from that, they are useless. Yeah, but you know, it's 70 leadership, and if you can use them to bait trebs, apart from that, they're not going to do anything. Iron Cap Archer. These guys actually have a trait in their Vexancy line that makes them every now and then do a flaming arrow. That means I'm going to move them to C for that, because in the seal system, if there's blue units and stuff about, then these guys can actually kill them because they hit them with a fire arrow. But then saying that, their rate of fire is okay, but their range is terrible. Again, green archers. The problem is you stick around with the green archer out for too long, and you're just going to get no value at all. You might get like 5 kills, especially obviously with tier 5 running around. It's kind of pointless. But yeah, I mean, during the seal system, during the start of a season when we can only do blues, that'd be the only time I would say to go for to even consider doing those. The Demise Archers, we're going to put them in D. These guys have a trait in the Vector line that makes them do more damage if they're on a wall, if they're up high. That makes sense, and from like a sort of like fantasy game play, then yes, that makes sense. But also we know what happens to archers that sit on walls. They'll either get completely destroyed by a longbow on the enemy team, or they'll get trebbed. So yeah, again, green archer. We have the Demise Crossbowmen. Now these would have been up here because of Chevaliers back in the day. Chevaliers, you can make these guys. These were the number one for Chevaliers, but I believe it's now the other ones that are the top of the things, the arbalists. But we're going to put these in C. They got a really good rate of fire, but again, it's green archer. You might get away with a few kills if you can get around the back, but problem with crossbowmen, they have no health at all, like even less than archers, I believe. So, and you've got to get closer. It's still a C. Most of the greens are going to be D or C, let's be honest. These guys, the Iron Cap Artibutius, they are going to be in C as well. These guys can, if you fully doctrine these out, I actually did a video on these, probably like 4 or 5 months ago. These are really good at one-shotting heroes. Fully doctrine them out with epic range doctrines, and then you just move these up and do their direct fire, and it can do quite a lot of damage because there's like 28 to a unit. So yeah, something to think about with those. If you get a chance, go check out the video. I think it was Sleeper Unit potentially. Yes, it was a Sleeper Unit one. It was interesting. And now we've got the first blue on the list. And this is the Vanguard Archer. The Vanguard. You probably would have never seen this on the the battlefield, but it's going to go in D, because basically the idea behind the Vanguard Archer was that it can move and shoot, but the way they're designed, they can only move forward towards the enemy and shoot. So it doesn't really make any sense. You don't want your archers doing that. If they could retreat and shoot, sort of walk backwards and fire away as they go, then that would have been a really cool archer, like a really good one. But yeah, it's like a charge while they're shooting. And they don't particularly have very good stats or anything like that. And there's just better out there. Maybe someone will come up with something. There'll be some hidden thing in their vacancy line that people are like, oh my god, that would do something. But at the moment, I don't think I've seen these being played for my entire time I've been on CB. So, yeah, they're going to have to sit in the D section. Prefecture Archers. These guys are going to go in A tier. Prefecture Archers, for the value, have some serious rate of fire and actually can do a lot of damage to everyone. They've got, a really good DPS to them. Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't actually finished leveling mine up yet. There's just been other things I wanted to level. But I have used them, and I have seen people use them, and yet, for how much they cost, they're very good. They're very good. The issue that you've got with all range at the moment is there is a certain range on this list at the bottom here, in what we haven't put in yet, that can just wipe every one of these in 2 seconds. But nonetheless, they're good. I'm going to put them in A. They're not quite S for me. They probably could be B, because range is one of those things that you don't need too many of. But A, just because I've seen the rate of fire and the DPS they put out is huge. The Demise Artabutus. We're going to pop these ones in C. The reason why I put these ones in C is they're okay. They're not bad. You put the right doctrines in these, but they are 200 leadership, and there is another blue gun on this list that's 190 leadership and would absolutely smash these. They basically do the same job, but the other one does it 1,000,000 times better. So for cheaper, and is just much more viable, more tanky than this. So as it stands, that's going to C, because it's just, there's just better. There is better. The Rattan Vipers. Now, Rattan Vipers, I'm going to put in A. And people might disagree with me on this, but Rattan Vipers, in fact, I'm going to put them ahead of the Prefecture Archers. It is not so much about getting kills. The Rattan Vipers have a thing in their Vection line that basically means when they poison someone, they reduce the person they've poisoned's damage, but I think it's up to like 60%. That means, it's similar to like the Rattan Pikes, but you've got range. That means even if you're not killing anyone, let's say your team's making a push and you put these behind your team and they're firing in at the enemy, if you're poisoning people up, you're reducing their damage and their capability on killing your teammates. So as a team player, having one person with this, and if they actually know how to use it and really get those poisons ticking away, if you have a fair, let's say you have three guys with shield maidens and they have 3 guys with shield maidens, and you've got one person at the back with these, you'll probably win, because you're reducing all those shield maidens damage and the hero's damage by 60%. So yeah, really nice. Moving on, what have we got next? Fire Archers. Now, Fire Archers used to be not that great, and now they've seemed to have made a big return, but the problem is that I feel like they're much better when it comes to the seal system. Like, when we're dealing with just blue troops and green troops at the start of a season, these guys are top tier. They're way up here. But then as we go into the season and we get the tier 4s, tier 5s, I feel like these drop down the list a bit. Like, they literally start here and then they work their way down as we unlock more troops. I'm not saying they're bad by any means, because I know a lot of people love them, and I think they still have an impact. But I'm going to put them mid-range in B, because I know these guys put out a lot of DPS, and obviously the tier 4s and tier 5s don't burn. So, but they still do a lot of damage. I mean, I am tempted to put it there. It's like if we're on this, it's either there or there. But I'm going to fill this spot here, just because I think they fall off slightly coming into when they do that, and they obviously don't provide the value of Rattan Vipers. So yeah, that's one that we could consider. Like if you're thinking about that, that could be an A or a B, depending on the time. Moving on, Rattan Marksman. Ugh. My glorious Rattan Marksman. I love them so much. They are going in S, and that's not just because I love them. Actually, wait. If you have the epic from the Doctrine Alchemy machine, if you have the Rattan Doctrine, then yes, they are up in S. If you don't have that, then they're either an A or a B. But I'm going off my ones, and they have the Doctrine, and yeah, they annihilate everything. That is really, really nice. I put out a video literally yesterday on these that I want to actually do another one because I know I can get some better gameplay. I've had games with them where I've got hundreds of kills with them, like multiple hero kills. They are really good. Paper Tigers, so much damage. The poisons are just get to the point where they're almost unsurvivable as if you get a full stack on you. Yeah, a real game changer. It's almost like having flamethrowers turn up. As long as the team doesn't have too many shields, that's at the moment it's kind of a problem. These guys at the back just firing away it's such a game changer. And 180 leadership, so worth the risk of them getting killed all in one. Because even if you can get 20 seconds of shooting off in a big group, they'll pay for themselves. They'll pay for themselves really easily. But I'm putting those S tier. Moving on, Namcams. These used to be probably up here. Namcams were everywhere. They were such a dominant unit. But they've fallen off. I'm going to put those Namcams with the Fire Archers actually in B. B's not bad, by the way. B is not bad. Namcams basically, if you haven't used them before, you can toggle on a bleed that if they hit someone, they make them bleed, and that stacks up, and that still stacks up for a really decent amount of damage. The problem is, again, with a lot of these archers, is that they normally will just get killed by one person with a different archer. But yeah, I think I'm going to put them there. I just don't see them as much as I used to see them. When I've used them, people still have that memory of them being really dominant, and they will find them and kill them very quickly. So yeah, Namcam's unfortunately going in there. Yeah, okay, moving on. The Arbalists. Arbalists we're going to put in. We're not going to put them in contention with the. If we're putting them with the Chevaliers, then they can be up in A. But I think we're going to put them in B, just because we're just sort of going through them as a unit standalone. But in terms of if you put them in the Chevaliers, then they're up there because they're the best one to use for the Chevaliers at the moment. But yes, B. Not much to say about these really. They're crossbows. They do an okay damage. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, with a lot of crossbows, how much are those leadership? They're 180. Yeah. See, the problem is if I want to go crossbows, I'm just going Rattans. I just don't see the point. Rattans do everything these guys do with poisons and slows and better. Faster, better, yeah. So, actually, I would probably move that down to a C. I'm probably going to move that down to a C because Rattans exist. Yeah, that's going to a C. At the top of C and moving to a B. But again, there's no... Unless they're inside of Chevaliers, unless they're working alongside Chevaliers, they're a C because Rattans exist. Right, Janissaries. Now, this is what I was talking about with the Demis Artabutus, or these guys here. Yes. Janissaries exist, and Janissaries are just a far better version of these. They set up, they're accurate, they actually hit. Their hits go like actually have some real power to them. They'll go through shields every now and then. They've got a daze. It's just a much better version of those. So we're moving them to. They are in S tier, and actually Janissaries are a lot better than even some of the purple musket units. So yeah, that we're going to put Jans up there. You've probably seen them. They're with the sticks out. Just great for defending points. And they have a relatively good amount of health for a unit that costs 190 leadership and does the damage they do. So yeah, that's Janissaries. Moving on, we're going to go for the Zycalian Militia. That's got to be up in S tier. Just, you can completely negate a push with Zycalian. Doesn't matter if they're tier 5s, tier 4s. These guys just add the burn. Obviously, take a little bit of time to master, and you got to be kind of wary about where you're going, bobbing, weaving, but really, really, really nice, and can completely stop a game, completely pause a game because somebody's dominating with these. And obviously now they can go to level 18. They've become even more strong because you have 2 more points to spend, and it kind of changed the vector tree a bit. That's really nice. So Zycalian, we've all experienced those, and they are S tier. Imperial Archers are going to go A. Obviously, they got the Bodkin Arrow. They do some seriously high penetration. So, like, with all the shields and stuff at the moment, these actually could be a good option. They got a high piercing pen. But yeah, the issue that I would say with these at the moment is, again, with all archer units, if someone's playing a certain other archer, you are going to struggle because you're just going to get anti-archered very quickly. But nothing bad to say about them. They are good. They've got that 5-round volley thing that they do now. They got a bit of a change, I seem to remember. You used to be able to toggle on Bodkin Arrow and stuff like that, and then they've changed to something else. I don't see them that often, so I am apprehensive to put them in A, to be honest. I am like doing this in my head, but I am going to leave them in A because I have been, when I have seen them, I've like run round to kill them and they've sent like a volley at me and it's instantly killed me. So yeah, I'm going to put them at A with that sort of thing that potentially they could be B, just because I don't see them enough. But nonetheless, we'll keep them in A. Krieg Rats, Fusiliers. Krieg Rats. I'm gonna, with the extra levels, now they can go to 24. I see them. They probably could be good, but I'm gonna put them in B. I think gun units are in a weird place at the moment because they have a bit less range than the crossbows. Like, and I could take Rattan Marksman and wipe this entire thing in 2 seconds. But B doesn't mean they're bad. I think they, as a cheaper tanky musket unit goes, I think they're top tier, like your discount tercios. I think they are okay. I just think for the same leadership, they're not cheap leadership, and they're like, I think if it's still 255, I think it is, or something like that. So yeah, we're gonna put those in B. A tankier musket units are a bit tricky to do at the moment, to be honest. In terms of the next one, we have the Imperial Artabutus. Now these guys in volley mode have now become like, yeah, they do a huge amount of DPS, and they've got a little bit of anti-cavalry to them. They do more damage to cavalry when they're doing their volleys, but they have very little health. So, but the DPS is pretty beastly. The problem is there's a lot of shields about at the moment. Even though these guys can do damage to shields and stuff, I reckon they would be killed pretty quickly. I'm hesitant again. I kind of want to put them at the top of B or at the back of A. In fact, I'm going to do that. Back of A. Yeah, we're gonna put them at the back of A. I don't know with this one. Yeah, we're gonna leave them there, back of A. No, we're going ahead of C, head of B. Sorry, head of B. Oh god, that's such a difficult one for me. It's such a difficult one. I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna put them there. I'm probably wrong. They are really scooting between A and B, but I'm gonna leave them. I'm gonna say B actually. Head of B, back of A. They're good. Rate of fire is great. Really tiny amounts of health. But if you're in a big stack with your group, then they're gonna do great. The only thing that I'm thinking is, if you've got these guys, they haven't got much more health than the Rattans. As is, I think the Rattans have like 1,000, mine have about 1,900 or maybe 2,500, and these guys have like 3,900 or something. So there's not a huge amount of difference between the two of them. And yeah, Rattans I think would just put out way more DPS. But I'm gonna go there, back of A, head of B. Longbows, we're going A tier, S tier. Sorry. Longbows, I could put them at the head of A because you just don't need too many people with them. The thing about longbows, if you have someone that knows how to play them, this is the mistake a lot of people make with longbows. They bring them out and they leave them out, and they stay with them and they're shooting at shields and stuff. That's not what you want to use these for. How you want to play these, you have them in your warband. You press tab, you look at what the enemy has out. You see they got Shenjis, they've got Houndsmen, they've got Tercios or whatever. They've got those out. You're like, right, it's time. You bring your archers out. You have a look around the map. You bring your longbows out. You see where they are. You aim far on those, kill those. Aim far on those, kill those. Aim far on those, kill those. Then you go back to the supply point, put them away. By doing that, you've just got yourself like a ridiculous amount of trade-off leadership, and then you put them away because they're not going to do much to. They do damage to infantry without a shield, but there's a lot of shields at the moment. These are the quintessential anti-archer. The reason why we're putting these in S is because they will wipe out everybody on this list if someone knows how to play these right, without these guys even being able to touch them, like from such a far distance away. So this really relies on people knowing how to play them and just, put them away once you've killed the archers. It's all about looking at the tab list and seeing what people have and then pulling these out, putting them away as soon as you're done. But they're going in S because they counter everything else on this list. A lot of people might disagree in there because the quintessential person playing longbows, when you're a new player, you hear longbows, you unlock longbows as your first unit, like I did when I first started playing. And you see people, there's nothing more frustrating than seeing someone with their longbows on top of a wall, basically shooting at shield walls and stuff like that. And you're like, these guys have a vectancy trait that increases their damage against ranged units by 40%. That means each arrow just one-shots everything. So, yes, they're going in A purely for their counterplay, but you have to play them properly. Now, onto the Goldens. Onto the golds. Tercios. Tercios are quite a fast shooting unit, so I'm gonna pop Tercios in. They're a bit of a one-shot thingy. They do a lot of things. They're quite tanky. I'm gonna pop them in S. No, I'm gonna pop them in A. They're at the head of A. I'm gonna put them at the head of A. Rangers, it's been quite difficult to rate, much more difficult than infantry. But I'm going to put those at A. They're really good, really quick at killing heroes. You got your 3-round volley fire that then changes them to their sword that basically can instantly wipe heroes out. A lot of fun to use, and if you leave them in a corner, their rate of fire on units is really, really, really good. I'm not putting them in S because there's another gun unit that I think would be better in S for purely the team playability. But they're still incredibly good. it's nice to have a gun unit that is actually tanky. Like they have like 9,000 health. So yes, really nice and fun to use. So if you haven't got them, it's worth getting them actually. Pervis, we're gonna put Pervis in the B. Actually, are we gonna put them in C? I kind of want to put them in C, but I feel like that's doing them dirty. Again, there's better units out there. Their rate of fire doesn't seem to be up to standard. They're good at killing cav. They're like an anti-cav range unit kind of thing nowadays. I have actually seen them a lot more now. Their leadership's been nerfed slightly. Their leadership's a bit lower. But I don't rate them at all. I think they used to be such a dominant unit, and now, yeah, they don't seem to hit me in the same way as they used to. It's nice to have a ranged unit with a shield, though. That is always nice. But yeah, B, it's usable, but nothing special, in my opinion. Falconettis are going to be... they're so niche. Again, they could be A tier because they can completely change the fire. I will put them in A. Only putting them A for this season right now because shields are a big thing, and you need something to break through the shields. And there's very limited things that will do it from a range, or there isn't anything that will do it from range. Or there are two actually. But yes, Falcos are kind of in a lot of games when there's so many shields about and you're on attack. You really need them to break open the walls. Like, it's really necessary. Ordinarily, I'd probably put them in A down here because they're kind of niche and they can be easily wiped. But in the right hands, similar to the longbows, I'm putting them in S just because they're so necessary at the moment. Flamethrowers again can totally change a game. But both these units, Falconettis and Flamethrowers, very, very squishy. Very squishy, and as soon as you see those flames, everyone is going to be trying to kill them. So your team relies heavily on team play, but if they go right, they go really right, and you can totally use them to push a point, and it's pretty incredible. So yeah, Flamers are got to go there, but it's people might disagree because they get wiped quite quickly, but when they do go right, it's very good. Shenji's, again, going up top here. In fact, Shenji's, I'm going to put them there. There. Shenji's, the grenades, as we were just talking about with the shields, the grenades are becoming more and more important to be able to wipe shields. And if someone's good at being like on defense and throwing the grenades off, they can score a lot of kills. Personally, when using these now, I don't use them like a gun anymore. I think that we used to back in when these first came out, their gun was incredibly powerful. Like after you throw a grenade, it felt like you're really racking up the kills fast. I don't really have that same experience anymore. That I feel like the guns are doing it. So I basically, if I can get a few shots off, I will do it. But most of the time, I'm on the walls. I'll lob the grenades off because they have that such lovely arc. You can use them to destroy anyone's shields or like their pikes, whatever. Like they're really good for that. So I basically just use these as a grenade unit now, just to disrupt. But nonetheless, that disruption is incredibly good. So they're going to go in S tier because they can, again, Shenji's can change a game. Like you're pushing on point or you're defending a point and you lob some Shenji grenades, you can totally ruin whatever's coming in terms of just staggering them, and then your team push properly, and it's good team play thing. And then Houndsman, I've had some good games with Houndsman, but they're not S tier. I don't think they're A tier. They just can get wiped out too quickly. Their dogs die, again, still too quickly. I'm putting Houndsman in B, but that doesn't mean Houndsman you can't have a crazy game. I've had one of my best games has been with Houndsman. They're fun to play, and if no one's watching, you can get so many kills. The problem is that half your unit is dogs that end up running into pikes or running into anything whenever you shoot, and they just end up dying. And then you're left with the archers. That is fine, but they're not the same when you don't have the dogs. So, yeah. They are good, but I'm not going to put them in A. They could be A. They could be, but my experience so far with them this season has been that whenever I've got them, they've been dead before they can do anything. And that's hence why I go for the Rattans, because they're cheaper. If I lose them, it's not the end of the world, but they'll put out equal amounts of damage. So we're going to put them in B, unfortunately. I'd love to see them make a return, though, because I love the dogs. I love them. So good. And that looks like our list. Now, as I said with the other one, if I stared at this for a few hours, this list, I'd probably move a few things around. But as it stands, that's going to be my list for this season. Yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. If this is my first video you've caught, would really appreciate it if you subscribe, if you like the content, that is. If you don't, then, you don't. So, yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.